Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. This is my first video and I'm really excited to delve into this topic. Today we are talking about a game that sparks a lot of heated debate, especially among those who are avid gamers of the past, about which EA Battlefield game is truly the best. Now, the franchise has had its highs, like Battlefield 3 and Bad Company 2, and its, let's just say, questionable moments. Looking at you, Battlefield 5 in 2042. But there's one game that even years later keeps pulling players back in. One game that nailed the formula so well that it feels like the last true golden era of Battlefield. And that game is Battlefield 1. But before we jump into the rest of the video, I'd like to show you a compilation of some small clips from other YouTubers that have proven without any words as to why Battlefield 5 as well as 2042 not only missed the mark but missed the whole range. Hope you enjoy.
I'm sorry, I don't play video games that lie to me, you know? I mean, I just don't participate in that. I don't believe in it. I think it's wrong, you know?
This is open paid beta. Yes, you are correct.
Set during World War I, BF1 took a huge risk. Most people didn't even expect a game set in the Great War to deliver that of intense, large-scale, explosive experience that the franchise is known for. But DICE pulled it off anyways. And today I want to break down why Battlefield 1 isn't just a great game, but that it might actually be the best Battlefield game ever made. When Battlefield 1 was announced, a lot of fans were skeptical. World War I? That's trench warfare. Slow rifles, bayonet charges, right? Like, not exactly the high-tech modern warfare people we're used to. But that's exactly why it worked. The setting gave the game a unique identity that still stands out years later. Instead of being another generic modern military shooter, it gave us muddy trenches, shattered European towns, burning deserts, and snowy mountain passes. It was a time period full of chaos, invention, and desperation. And DICE captured that perfectly. The atmosphere was on another level. The sound design alone, screaming artillery shells, the crack of a sniper rifle, or the roar of a Zeppelin engine overhead, it pulled you straight into the battlefield. Every match felt cinematic, without feeling scripted. Other Battlefield games often felt like they were trying to copy each other's homework. And to quote my favorite YouTuber, Actman, quote, modern gaming, close quote, it has led to the downfall of many a games, especially the ones that used to take themselves very seriously. Look at Call of Duty and its, quite honestly, cringe Beavis and Butthead skins and Seth Rogen and Nicki Minaj. Nothing's better than getting shot by her and then, seeing the BBL afterwards run away. But anyways, then you have Fortnite. And that model's been working great. But people crave a game that takes itself seriously, and that's why games like Delta Force and Ready or Not are blowing up. And this is why Battlefield 1 not only is making a huge comeback, but has revolutionized the whole way of playing Battlefield, from day one up until now. Now, let's talk gunplay. One of the biggest reasons Battlefield 1 stood out is because it simplified things on purpose. Battlefield 4 and 5 had this almost overwhelming level of customization. 10 scopes, 15 grips, a couple laser sights, tactical underbarrel espresso machines, you name it, whatever you want, you got it. But Battlefield 1 stripped that back. Each weapon had its quirks, its limits, and its personality. Bolt-action rifles had a rhythm you had to master. Early machine guns kicked like angry mules if you didn't know the exact way to fire, and fire in bursts you had to do. And because the attachment system was minimal, it meant the playing field felt a lot more fair. You weren't losing fights just because someone unlocked a meta loadout. You lost because they outplayed you, and that's what made every win feel a lot more satisfying. Not to mention the guns were pretty dang inaccurate, and so when you actually hit a headshot, or hit some shots, half the time you're bewildered by how you hit it, and the other half the time you just want to like throw your controller out of excitement because you hit a clip. But fortunately, DICE had a method to the madness, and the gunplay forced players to rely heavily more on skill, positioning, and teamwork, rather than the gadgets and gizmos of each individual weapon that would just laser beam the entire map. It was chaotic, sure, but it was a balanced kind of chaotic, where everything felt both unfair and fair at the same time to create this majestical masterpiece that we call BF1. Map design is honestly where BF1 quietly flexed its muscles. The game gave us some of the most iconic maps in the franchise. Mind with its urban destruction, Sinai Desert with its sweeping dunes and cliffside sniping spots, Monte Grappa turning vertical combat into an art form, and St. Quentin Scar with its all-out war atmosphere. Each map catered to multiple different playstyles. You could run as an infantry in the tight streets, flank as a cavalry unit in the open terrain, or take to the skies in a biplane and rain chaos from above. They felt alive, not just because of the visual detail, but because they flowed. Objectives connected naturally, and battles shifted across them in unpredictable yet exciting ways. Compare this to some of the later entries, and honestly, even prior ones, where maps felt either way too open and empty, or so cluttered and condensed they became a grenade spam simulator. But BF1 hit that sweet spot. Of course, no Battlefield experience is complete without its vehicles, and in Battlefield 1, they were some of the most fun and memorable in the series. Tanks were powerful, but could be easily countered. Planes were tricky to massacre, but they were so rewarding. And cavalry, let's be real. Joining in a battle on a horseback with a saber, that's the stuff of pure gaming joy. As well as a little bit OP. But anyways, the real game changers was the behemoths. The armored trains, the massive airships, and the dreadnought battleships. These weren't just little gimmicks. They were comeback mechanics that actually worked. A team that was losing badly could rally around them, and a team that got cocky could be completely turned around. And I really hope they bring it back. And when those behemoths finally went down, watching a flaming zeppelin crash into the battlefield or a dreadnought sink into the sea, those are the moments that felt unscripted yet unforgettable. That's the kind of spectacle Battlefield used to be known for. Now here's something that often gets forgotten. The single-player campaign. Unlike most other Battlefield games or just war games in general, BF1 didn't try to tell one giant Hollywood blockbuster story. Instead, it gave us war stories. Short, intimate tales from different sides of the war. He played as an inexperienced pilot bluffing his way through skies, a tank crew crawling through the mud of the Western Front, a Bedouin, forgive the pronunciation, warrior fighting alongside Lawrence of Arabia, and even an Italian soldier scaling the Alps under relentless fire to rescue his brother. These weren't just tutorials disguised as missions. They were emotional. They were snapshots of a global conflict, and they did a great job at humanizing the chaos. You weren't just a nameless soldier. You were part of something bigger, and that gave the whole game a lot more weight. Fast forward to now, years later, almost a decade even, and here's the crazy part. BF1 is still alive. Not only just alive, but thriving. Servers are active, the player base is healthy, and more people are calling it the last great Battlefield. Why? Because it respected the core of what made the franchise special. It wasn't chasing trends, it didn't try to become a battle royale overnight, it didn't drown players in microtransactions at launch. It was polished, memorable, and, most importantly, fun. Even in 2025, when players log in, they're not just playing on nostalgia, they're playing because the game still holds up. So why is Battlefield 1 better than all the others? Because it found balance. It delivered epic scale without sacrificing gameplay. It had character without overcomplicating things. It gave us moments that we still talk about years later. Whether it was taking down a Zeppelin, holding down the line in Verdun Heights, or charging with bayonets, with your friends into no man's land and then get immediately shot in the head. It wasn't perfect. No game is. But it got more right than most of its predecessors, as well as its successors. But that's just my take. What do you think? Is Battlefield 1 the peak of the franchise? Or does Battlefield 3 still wear the crown? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button, or bayonet it, shovel it if you want. And if you enjoy the breakdown, and please subscribe for more deep dives into the best games of the past decade. And, well, thanks for watching. Remember, in the world of Battlefield, sometimes the best offense is a well-placed shovel. Bye.